After the Shibuya incident, the Jujutsu world is no longer the same. This event was not just a large-scale battle, it was a complete disaster that broke the balance of everything. Large parts of Tokyo were destroyed, countless civilians lost their lives, and curses began appearing everywhere as if the city had become their favorite hangout spot. The public now knows that sorcerers exist, and that knowledge brings fear instead of safety. Trust in the Jujutsu system is shattered, and the idea of control disappears overnight. What made Shibuya truly terrifying is that it proved even the strongest plans can fail. The world that once relied on hidden protection is now exposed and vulnerable. From this point forward, Jujutsu Kaisen shifts its tone completely. It stops being a story about winning battles and becomes a story about dealing with consequences. Shibuya marks the moment where survival becomes more important than heroism, and the future begins to feel frighteningly uncertain. The most shocking result of the Shibuya incident is the sealing of Gojo Satoru. The strongest sorcerer, the one-man safety system of the Jujutsu world, is suddenly removed from the battlefield. This single moment creates instant panic across Jujutsu society. For years, everyone relied on Gojo to handle impossible threats, and now they realize how fragile the system really was. Without him, even powerful sorcerers feel exposed and unsure. The higher-ups begin making rushed and fearful decisions, proving that confidence disappears quickly when strength is gone. Curses sense this weakness and grow bolder, knowing their greatest enemy is no longer around. Gojo's absence also changes the emotional tone of the story. The feeling of security vanishes, and danger feels constant. Season 3 builds heavily on this idea, showing a world forced to move forward without its strongest protector, struggling. After Shibuya, Yuji Itadori's life takes a brutal turn. Instead of receiving support or understanding, he becomes the main target of the Jujutsu higher-ups. Because Sukuna caused massive destruction while using Yuji's body, the blame falls directly on him. The decision is simple and cruel. Yuji must be executed immediately. The same people who once allowed him to live now treat him like a walking disaster. On top of this, Yuji is already crushed by guilt. He clearly remembers the damage Sukuna caused and knows innocent people died because of it. This emotional weight follows him everywhere, making every step forward painful. Yuji is no longer just fighting curses, he is fighting his own existence. His role in the story changes from student to hunted criminal. Season 3 focuses heavily on this shift, showing Yuji forced to move forward while carrying fear, responsibility, and a curse he never asked for. The Shibuya incident exposes the deep cracks within Jujutsu society. Instead of coming together to rebuild, the leaders begin turning on their own people. The higher-ups focus more on protecting their authority than protecting lives, making decisions based on fear rather than logic. Sorcerers who are strong, independent, or difficult to control are suddenly labeled as threats. Trust inside the system disappears, and cooperation becomes rare. It feels less like an organized society and more like a group trying to save itself from drowning. Rules become weapons, and justice becomes optional. This internal collapse is just as dangerous as any curse, because it weakens the very people meant to defend humanity. Season 3 explores this broken system in detail, showing how corruption and selfishness create new enemies from within. The Jujutsu world no longer feels like a place of order and protection. Instead, it becomes unstable, divided, and dangerously close to falling apart completely. While the Jujutsu world struggles to recover, Kenjaku calmly takes control of the situation. For him, the Shibuya incident was not the end of a plan, but the successful completion of one stage. With Gojo sealed and society weakened, Kenjaku finally has the freedom to act without interference. Unlike other villains, he does not rush or show anger. His patience makes him even more terrifying. Kenjaku understands human nature, curses, and fear better than anyone else, and he uses that knowledge perfectly. As chaos spreads, he quietly prepares the next phase of his goal. Every move he makes feels calculated, as if the world is simply following a script he already wrote. Season 3 places Kenjaku at the center of the story, transforming him from a hidden manipulator into the main driving force. From this point onward, it becomes clear that the real battle has only just begun. After the Shibuya incident, the world itself becomes far more dangerous. Curses grow stronger and appear more frequently, no longer afraid of hiding in the shadows. Curse users also step forward, taking advantage of the confusion and lack of order. Ordinary people are caught in the middle, often without even realizing what kind of nightmare they are living in. Sorcerers are pushed to their limits, fighting non-stop with little rest or support. Injuries, exhaustion, and loss become normal parts of daily life. This new world feels harsh and unforgiving, where survival matters more than ideals. There is no time for training arcs or peaceful moments anymore. Every day is a test of endurance. Season 3 fully embraces this tone, showing a reality where danger can appear anywhere and safety is never guaranteed. The Jujutsu world stops feeling heroic and starts feeling painfully real, where one mistake can mean instant death. All the chaos after Shibuya leads directly to one terrifying event known as the culling game. Kenjaku introduces this deadly system to push the Jujutsu world into constant conflict. Sorcerers and newly awakened fighters are forced to participate under strict and cruel rules. This is not a competition meant for glory or reward. It is a survival game where killing becomes a requirement, not a choice. The culling game changes how battles work, placing strategy and intelligence above raw strength. Characters must think carefully, because one wrong move can end their lives. There are no safe places and no chances to escape once the game begins. Season 3 revolves heavily around this setup, using the culling game to test every character's limits. Morals are challenged, alliances are fragile, and survival often demands terrible decisions that leave lasting consequences. Everything that happens after the Shibuya incident exists to prepare the story for Season 3. The world is damaged, the strongest sorcerer is sealed, the system meant to protect people is broken, and the main villain is finally in control. Hope becomes rare, and survival becomes the main goal. Characters are no longer fighting to prove strength, but to protect what little remains. Every decision carries weight, and every battle has real consequences. Season 3 pushes Jujutsu Kaisen into its darkest phase, where loss feels permanent and victory feels uncertain. The story slows down emotionally while becoming more intense mentally. There are no easy answers and no guaranteed heroes. This season focuses on growth through suffering and strength through sacrifice. After Shibuya, the series makes it clear that nothing will ever return to normal. Season 3 is not just a continuation, it is a transformation that defines the future of Jujutsu Kaisen. After Shibuya, characters no longer have the luxury of slow growth. The world becomes so dangerous that survival itself forces evolution. Sorcerers must adapt quickly or die without warning. Training is replaced by real combat, where mistakes are punished instantly. Characters who once relied on others now have to stand on their own. Fear becomes a constant companion, but it also becomes fuel for growth. This phase of the story shows power gained through pain rather than talent. Emotional trauma shapes decisions, making characters more realistic and unpredictable. Season 3 highlights this harsh development, where strength is built through loss and endurance. No one becomes stronger because they want to, but because they have no other choice. Even small victories feel costly. This intense growth changes how viewers see each character, turning them from students into survivors. Shibuya acts as the breaking point, and what follows is a forced evolution that defines the future of the series. With everything that follows Shibuya, Jujutsu Kaisen clearly enters a new era. The rules that once guided the world no longer apply, and certainty disappears completely. The old system is gone, replaced by chaos and constant danger. Heroes are no longer protected, villains are no longer hidden, and the line between good and evil becomes blurred. Season 3 represents this shift perfectly, focusing on a world where survival demands sacrifice. Every arc feels heavier because the consequences are permanent. There is no reset button, no safe ending, and no guaranteed rescue. This new era challenges both the characters and the audience to accept a harsher reality. Jujutsu Kaisen stops being a story about potential and becomes a story about endurance. After Shibuya, the series makes a clear promise: nothing will be easy, and nothing will be forgiven. Season 3 fully embraces this promise and moves forward without mercy. That's all for today, guys. Let's see tomorrow.